Hi, I'm Maria, and I'm here with Josielyn and Ryan, and we chose to do our supermarket tour on Fortinos. It's important to note that Fortinos is actually owned by Loblaws Companies Ltd. Loblaws Companies Ltd is one of the leading companies in Canada, and it actually owns Fortinos, No Frills, Shoppers Drug Mart, just to put everything in perspective. So now we're going to enter aisle 5, which is the organic aisle. And this is where we see all the organic chips. So this aisle was actually strategically placed because if you see, the pharmacy is right beside this. And so people getting their prescriptions at the pharmacy, they usually have like a 15-minute waiting time. So when they're waiting, they could actually browse through this aisle and look at the healthy options available to them. So this particular packaging, you see the name Beanfields, and right under it highlights family owned bean and rice chips. So right away, right off the bat, you see their branding is targeted towards like a more family owned local business rather than a large corporation. And then you also see artisan. That word really highlights the quality of this chip and how it differentiates from the rest of the main corporations, like the popular chips, Tostitos, Cheetos, for example. And then on the back, we also see highlighted the main nutritional benefits of the product. So for example, a good source of fiber, certified gluten-free, vegan, and this will attract the people that are looking for a more healthy option in chips, for example. And then looking at the price point of these products, we see a higher price point. So for example, we're seeing $5.69, $3.69, as opposed to the Frito-Lay chips. We were seeing like more $2.99, $2.50. And this could be due to the fact that they're making smaller portions to distribute. Continuing on our supermarket tour, we also see a large display dedicated to just Skinny Pop. And we see that it's on special, so the price point is $2.99. And again, it highlights the calories, that it's gluten-free, GMO-free, no artificial colors. So we see all these healthy points being promoted. While looking at this, we also had some questions just because we saw the whole display, most of the display dedicated to Skinny Pop, and then right at the top we just see a little section dedicated to veggie chips. So was this a decision by the distributor? Was it a decision by Fortinos itself? So that's important to note. And then also the display itself is like wooden and it's like crates kind of. So they're trying to depict like a farm, homegrown, locally produced item. So that's just So that is another point to attract consumers that may be looking for this type of product.
So you can see here, now we're walking to aisle 8, but as we walk by, we notice that there's an end cap dedicated to Tostitos, and on the sides you also see Doritos. Mind you that both of these companies are owned by Frito-Lay. So as we get closer, we notice that these products are also on special, retailing for $2.99, and $3.79. We can see that they also have their salsa and cheese dip that also partners with the Tostitos tortilla chips. And we can also see that they have a variety of selections, so it's not just one chip covering the whole end cap, it's multiple chips. And on the bag we can see that they're cross-promoting their other products, such as the salsa that would go great with the Tostitos. And at the back we can see there's a recipe that you can use if you purchase the chips. And again, we can see the Frito-Lay logo at the back. Tostitos and Doritos, but most importantly, Frito-Lay is overpowering much of the attention from consumers as they walk by. So that means that they have a higher corporate control, and they're investing a lot more to buy out the end cap to many of the aisles. So here we're approaching aisle 8, where we find the main chips, snacks, popcorn, and crackers. So here we approach something that we thought were Cheetos, but they're actually not. They're Chester's popcorn and corn swirls. And above we can see Cheetos. So by placing them at eye level to the consumer, we can see that Cheetos attract more to consumers instead of the swirls at the bottom. So they don't really grab that much attention. They're placed there for a reason because they're not as high in corporate control as Cheetos. But Cheetos and the Chester's popcorn and corn swirls are both owned by Frito-Lay. So on the front of the bag, we can also see that the cheetah is used on both packagings for the different companies. But for Cheetos, it looks more of the iconic cheetah that we usually see in commercials and that we are familiar with rather than with Chester's. It's a more generic version of the cheetah, and it's not as appealing, although they have the same color palette and they're very similar, but we can obviously tell the difference. So we recognize Chester's as a more generic substitute to Cheetos. From this we can see and we notice that Cheetos is a trusted brand, and other brands such as Lay's and Doritos are trusted because we recognize them in different advertisements on television, on billboards, and it's familiar, so it brings up the brand loyalty that the companies intend to create. And so the next thing we noticed was Doritos. They have gone to another direction in promoting their new chip, which is guacamole, but the packaging is totally different. Like, you wouldn't notice that it was Doritos. It looks more like a knockoff. And we usually resort to the original packaging of Doritos. And on the back, we can see that it's attracting a more social media savvy audience with social media. And also on the new packaging, they're attracting a more sports targeted audience with the NBA, and it has different contests that help promote their product.
So here we see another Frito-Lay brand, and in contrast to Skinny Pop, the advertising is actually focused on the picture of the popcorn itself. So we see chocolate, we see like a little bit of sweet, salty, and it's basically introducing this new flavor. We don't see any highlighted points based on health, GMO free, any of that stuff. Yeah, we see cross promotion on these bags. So just in case you didn't see the other flavor, for example, so let's say you bought the salted caramel one and you didn't see the raspberry chocolate drizzle one, you'll see it on the back of the bag on the salted caramel.
So again, we can see that NHL and other sport leagues are cross-promoting with chip companies to attract different demographics, such as Super Bowl Sunday fans, and it can be seen as products or fan foods that are quick and easy to eat at an all-boy hangout scenario. There are also contests that attract consumers right away from the packaging in order to build hype and add a benefit to purchasing these products. The no-name brand or the generic brand is overflowing on the top. It's put at the top and at the bottom, and you can see that Lay's is covering the whole middle section of the aisle. So from this, we can get that Lay's has a higher corporate control, and it's what consumers are going to look for when they walk through the aisle. They're not going to notice no-name brands, which is the whole point that they want to get across. So to conclude, we discovered that Frito-Lay, who seems to have the most corporate control, PepsiCo owns Frito-Lay, which means that PepsiCo owns a massive amount of companies declaring their corporate control, is one of the most influential across North America. So from this, we discovered that many consumers like ourselves would purchase Frito-Lay products for their price point and specials, the brand loyalty and trust, their easy accessibility that corporate control has resulted in. But most of all, we recognize these brands because they're brands that we grew up with and that are most noticeable in our everyday lives, which means that their objective is that in particular to gain enough recognition so that consumers, when they go into a grocery store, they are able to pick out those products that are most recognizable.
Thanks for watching our supermarket tour.